Dems' massive green energy agenda is walking America right into China's hands, analysis claims. And that's right. That's absolutely right. They are turning with this green agenda, it will make the United States a third world country. It will catapult China to the #1 spot, which is what they want, because they are not following any of these green agendas. They're not doing that. While we're shutting down power plants, they're building more power plants. Um, so this whole plan, this whole green agenda, is just a way of for them to control us, to manage us, to herd us together. That's what it's really about. Because the elites don't have to worry about any of that. They don't have to. They're flying around in their private jets while telling us to travel, to not fly in planes and stuff. I mean, these people are so terrible hypocrites. So we're gonna talk a little bit about that. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button, share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon. That's where I talk about things that I can't talk about here. There's also a link to my Instagram and my X account, so check me out there as well. All right, so let's talk about this news. Now, this comes from the Tampa Free Press from Nick Pope, and he reports that Democrats' sprawling green energy agenda is making the U.S. reliant on raw materials that China dominates, putting the U.S. at a tactical and economic disadvantage, according to a report published Thursday by the Heritage Foundation. Now, I didn't even look at that aspect of it. That's right. We would need to go to China for the raw materials to put this stuff together. So if China shuts off the supply chain, we're stuck without power. But the Biden-Harris administration has spent huge amounts of taxpayer money and regulated aggressively to transition the U.S. away from fossil fuels, which we were independent. We were energy independent. We didn't need to rely on anyone else because we have plenty of fossil fuels here in the United States. And instead adapt green energy as the primary power source for the economy, a strategy that plays to China's advantage, giving its dominant position in the supply chains for raw minerals and materials needed to produce wind turbines, solar panels, and electric vehicles, the Heritage Foundation report states. The report advises policymakers to harness America's vast domestic mineral and fossil fuel reserves to keep energy costs down at home and supply cheap energy for American allies, while promptly adjusting course away from growing dependence on China. We got nuclear, we got clean coal, we got natural gas, we got all of this here. We don't need this bull crap that they're trying to push on us. But quote, by leveraging mechanism within the WTO, the World Trade Organization, stealing or co-opting, oops, well, sorry about that, y'all. Something happened. Here we go. My mouse is acting funny. By leveraging mechanisms with the World Trade Organization, within the World Trade Organization, stealing or co-opting intellectual property from foreign companies and buying out foreign companies with government guidance funds, China has succeeded in dominating the world's supply chain in green energy products and components. The report, which was authored by Diana Furchtgott Roth and Miles Pollard of the Heritage Foundation, reads, quote, if America continues to require the use of these green energy products, it will cede economic power to China, giving China control of American energy security. You would think our government will be aware of this, which I think they are. They are aware of this, but China has bought and paid for a bunch of our our politicians. That's why they continue to cede to China. But the Inflation Reduction Act, IRA, which passed the Senate in 2022, Vice President Kamala Harris's tie-breaking vote, contained hundreds of billions of dollars meant to subsidize green technologies like wind, solar, and EVs. However, the report warns that trying to subsidize American green technology to compete with Chinese companies that benefit from extensive Chinese state subsidies and unfair trade practices is a losing battle. The authors urge American policymakers to, quote, refuse to engage in an unwinnable subsidy war and repeal all green tax subsidies and credits. Doing so will, quote, enable more rational choice of forms of energy and choice of vehicles and appliances for American consumers while reducing incentives to invest in green industries rather than America's abundant hydrocarbon and power dense nuclear industries. That's what I was just alluding to. Another domestic solution the report puts forth is to more efficiently and frequently grant permits to corporations seeking to develop mines and other projects that extract critical minerals inside the U.S., citing Bureau of Land Management data. The report shows that both applications and approvals for new mining projects have tanked since in recent years. In 2011, there were 72 such applications in the works and 32 mines approved, with those numbers declining to 14 and 6 respectively by 2022. This is by design. Like I said, they're intentionally trying to turn us into a third world country. But the Biden-Harris administration has also killed or otherwise disrupted numerous domestic mining projects, such as the Alaska's Pebble Mine and the Twin Metals Mine in Minnesota. And don't forget about the Keystone Pipeline. Sorry, dyslexic today. The Keystone Pipeline that they got rid of as well, which was an agreement that would have made prices go down as well. But those developments could ostensibly help the U.S. source critical minerals domestically and decrease reliance on Chinese supply. So the administration's work to keep some of these key projects from becoming operational is likely counter to the national interest, the Heritage report asserts. Meanwhile, Chinese entities control about 85% of the share of global battery production in 2023, dominating other nations in the production of key battery components as well, according to the report. Moreover, Chinese companies also produced 2 out of every 3 EVs made in 2023, per International Council on Clean Transportation data cited in Heritage's report. China is similarly dominant in terms of producing solar modules, cells, and wafers in 2021, and Chinese companies also hold about 66% of the global market for wind turbines, according to the Heritage paper. Now, mind you, they aren't using these wind turbines. They're shipping them all out. They're sticking with gas. They're sticking with coal. They're sticking with nuclear. But beyond repealing counterproductive green subsidies and freeing up domestic mining projects with streamlined permitting and deregulation, Pollard and Forchgott-Roth also contended that the U.S. can adjust course for the better by making a deliberate effort to improve commercial relations with resource-rich nations in Africa and South America, while using tariffs to deal harshly with China's efforts to dominate crucial American industries, with particular focus on those Chinese firms that are thought to pose national or economic security risk. And you would think this would be an economic, you would think this would be a security risk by having to rely on China, who, mind you, is not one of our allies really. Having to rely on them, you would think that would be a national security risk, and they will want to be independent as far as when it comes to energy. Additionally, the two authors contend that the U.S. should use its influence at the WTO to ensure China's developing nation status is updated to reflect its actual more advanced level of economic development. That's true. They definitely need to change that. They're no longer a developing nation. Among other advantages, developing nation status has helped China to undercut Western competitors with cheaper products while skirting commitment to protect and respect American intellectual property, according to the report. Quote, China is not forcing America to purchase its products, but America is making itself dependent on China by choosing to use federal and state regulations to require that the United States and individual states use renewable energy and electric vehicles. This reduces jobs for American workers and increases jobs for Chinese workers, the Heritage report states. It slows U.S. economic growth because green energy is more expensive than oil, gas, coal, and nuclear. it sacrifices American national security interests because China is not an American ally. That's what I was just alluding to. I swear I didn't read this report beforehand. And it is therefore unwise to depend on China for a vital section of the American economy. And of course, the White House did not respond immediately to a request for comment. Because what can you say to this? They're going to continue to push that green agenda no matter how it hurts the American people, no matter how it hurts our national security. They don't care about that because it's about them turning us into a developing country is what they're trying to do. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Leave your comments down below. Like, share, subscribe, and check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.